Hey, coach, are you still programming for each client 1 week at a time? Or if you were like old Trevor, where each client was a special snowflake in creating a brand spanking new specialized program for each client that you got? If that's you, or if you're kind of like old Trevor, this is going to be the episode for you. I want to show you today how we're programming for hundreds of clients across our facility, and it takes no less than 5 to 10 minutes per client to create a fully customized program. And much of that revolves around systems. And today I'm going to teach you a little bit of that system. We had some really cool things come out last week at Coach Catalyst. So you'll get to preview some of that as well. But this is going to be a pretty cool episode because I'm actually going to get in and dig in and push some buttons and show you exactly how it works. And this, my friends, is Build with the CEO, where we help turn your coaching into a real business. My name is Trevor. I am the resident CEO and going to be your tour guide today. And we're going to get into workouts. So I want to paint the picture here a little bit. And really, this is a personal story. When I first got started in the industry, this was back in the days of like Excel. Eventually from Excel, we moved to Google Sheets. From Google Sheets, we moved to software. And so I would get a new client, I would do my assessment, and then I would create from scratch. So every week for the clients, I would build their programs, and it would take absolutely forever. I was spending probably 30 to 45 minutes per client creating their program, but I just thought that's how it had to be done, right? I was essentially creating the recipe every single time as a chef. Finally, I figured out that each client is a special snowflake, but each snowflake is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, right? It's made up of water. And yes, the snowflake is unique, but it's all made from the same fundamentals. So eventually I started to figure out that I need to create templates that I can then customize for each individual based upon their goals. Right. I may have someone that's interested in fat loss. I may have a beginner. I might have someone that's advanced. I might have someone that's wants to get as strong as possible. Right. So people fall into buckets. And it took me a really long time to figure this out. And I finally figured it out when I started bringing on staff into my facilities, where it was pretty easy for me. I could pump out programs pretty quick, but it was hard for my staff to replicate the exact same programs. And I couldn't be the bottleneck in having to program for everybody in my facility. And that's when we really, really, really started to dig into templates. And this is one of the reasons why we built workouts the way it's built inside of Coach Catalyst. I'm going to show you some really cool things that help with some efficiencies. And so now we're programming for hundreds of clients. Each coach is able to provide a unique program to that client, but within our philosophy at Functional Fitness. And even if you're never thinking about bringing on staff, if I could cut back on a ton of your programming time or show you a way to cut back on your programming time without losing the quality, I think you would be interested in that. And so I'm going to show you some stuff today that I think is going to really help you cut down on your program design. And ultimately, I'm going to show you some things that like provide an even better experience for your clients. So we're going to dig in. I'm going to share my screen here with you, and we're going to rock and roll. So let me work on some views here. There we go. Okay, perfect. Sweet. There we go. All right. So right now, bring this guy over here. You are looking at a client account inside of Coach Catalyst. That is my platform of choice. Obviously, I'm biased, but I think we've done some really cool things here. Now, with this, I have my clients that live in here. And I could go in and program for that client if I needed to. But what we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to essentially create templates where we're building a month's worth of programming, right, in one sitting. We're not building these out every single week. We're creating a month's worth of programming, and then we're going to customize it throughout. I'll show you how to do progressive overload and all these fun things that fitness people want to get into. But we're going to talk about the why behind everything. Okay. So everything starts from an exercise. So at Coach Catalyst, we have a huge exercise database that you can use, but you can create your own. And then the level up from that is what we call a block. I'll show you that here in a second. And then finally, we have a workout, right? And we want to start by building our workout templates. What are the structures, right? What are the structures that we typically utilize inside of our programming? Is that straight sets? Is that supersets? Is that trisets? Is that circuits, right? What is our structure for our different programming? And so we'd build some workouts with just some dummy exercises in there so that we could have those structures. And why that's important is because we can always start from that structure. Hey, I want to create something here that's triset. All I do is duplicate this. And now I'm going to be able to build off of that, right? So I'm not having to create from scratch every single time. I have my structure or I have my templates. So I would organize it as like superset template or triset template or 531 template or anything like that that's very specific. Right? So that's our workouts. And then where it gets really fancy is we start to put those workouts into a program. So that allows us then to add different workouts into one program and then assign that program to 1, 2, 5, 10, 50 people. Right? That's where a lot of the magic and time saving is in the actual program. Because I could theoretically, right? I could theoretically go into my client. I've got Superman here, Clark Kent. I could come in and add a workout into him. So come in here. Let's just grab one, right? We could add this in. We could make it repeat, right? Every Tuesday for the next 2 Tuesdays. And I can save that in and boom, boom, that shows up in there, right? And then I can copy and I can paste it, all that fun stuff. But there's still a fair amount of manual labor there, right? So let's just delete all these off of his account. And we'll get into how we would do this from a programming standpoint. So what I encourage coaches to think about is each client or each bucket of clients, right? Each bucket of special snowflakes goes through a journey. Just like we would talk about like a customer journey, we should think about like a workout journey. Someone has X goal, right? And they're maybe a beginner, maybe intermediate or advanced, right? And they have that goal. We could map out what the basic template for their workouts are going to be for the next, you could probably map it out for the next 12 months because there are some customizations and personalizations that we're going to be able to make. And so we want to think about this as a bucket. Think about this as a bucket. And then what would be just the generic, the client that is no real issues that would fall into that bucket, right? Everyone's going to come up with all the excuses of like, what about this or what about that or what about shoulder or hips or whatever. Like all of that is customizable once we get to the client level. But let's just think about our simple Gary or Jane or just a standard client in that bucket. That's what we build the program for. We build the program for that person because then we can always customize and tweak for the individual. Someone has a bad shoulder or someone scored really poorly on their active straight leg raise, right? That's just going to be exercise selection. But sets, reps, organization, all of that stuff, right, is like irregardless if someone scores a 1 on their active straight leg raise, right? None of that really matters. And so we want to get these templates. We want to get these templates dialed in. So let's show you how you do that. I'm going to show you what one looks like here, and then I'll build a little bit just so you can see, every piece of it. So here's fat loss phase 1, and this is a really generic name. I would probably give it a little bit more context, but in here you're going to see this particular phase has 3 workouts. I got workout A, workout B, workout C, and then that workout is repeated for 4 weeks, and then workout B is repeated for 4 weeks, and then workout C is repeated for 4 weeks. And I did some fancier things in this program too. So number 1, you're going to see a lesson, 2 lessons on the first day. One teaches the client how to track their workouts. This can be a generic lesson you just add in that teaches clients how to track their workouts. Because if you don't teach them, they're just going to do random stuff. So teach them what information you need to help coach them better. And then I've got week 1 workout notes. I didn't actually fill this one out, but you're going to see just kind of the placeholder there for that piece. And then I've got week 1 workout notes repeated there. And then I've got week 1 workout notes repeated there. Okay. And so those are there for the client. So when they hit that workout, they're also going to see the notes for that particular week of workouts, or maybe it is for that particular workout. But typically each week in my world is going to have a theme. There's something they're working on, something to pay attention to. Maybe it's effort levels. Maybe we're doing RPE stuff or things like that. I'm going to use lessons as a way to teach them, right? And then I have my actual workouts. Remember, these are our generic workouts, right? These are our generic ones that 90% of our clients would be able to do little tweaks from that. So I have my A, my B, and my C. Then I have this fancy little automated message that's going to go out on Saturday that just says, hey, insert first name. Because remember, I don't know who this is assigned to yet. With the new workouts this week, how is the body feeling? Any changes we need to make with the program? Okay. So simple. I don't have to remember at the end of the client's first week to send this message. It goes out automatically because I've programmed it in advance. And I've picked a really random time, like 8:25. So it doesn't feel automated, right? Even though I pre-programmed that out in advance. Got it? And then we got week 2 here, and now I've got my week 2 workout notes, and I've got my week 3 workout notes, and then I've got my week 4 workout notes. And then on week 4, this is something we do at our facilities, is we have the client fill out a review form. They answer questions like, are you pleased with your progress so far? If you are a 3 or below, how can I help you speed up your progress, right? Are any joints giving you issues, right? Please elaborate. Is there anything you dislike about your current program? Is there anything specific you'd like to add to your next program? And then just an open-ended, include anything that will help us create the best possible program for you, right? So this keeps the client involved in the process. We're a brick and mortar facility, but you should absolutely do this in the online world, right? These are musts. As a workout facility, as an offline brick and mortar, you probably don't need the workout notes. Those would be more for like your hybrid clients. If you're an online coach, I think you should absolutely have workout notes. And I think you should have a big video in here. I think you should have a video that's explaining that cycle of workouts. And you can make a video that's generic enough where it can be in everyone's program, where you're just talking about what are the goals of this particular week of workouts. Maybe we're starting to increase the intensity by adding another set for every exercise. Or maybe we're trying to challenge load and you want them on their last set to do as many repetitions as possible and then to record that number, right? Just like you would coach them in person, give them that coaching right there. And this will set you apart as an online only coach because no one else is doing this. Most people are just delivering nutrition information. Maybe they're setting their macros and here are your workouts, right? No one's delivering this like actual coaching that's done at scale. Yes, there's other coaching and feedback that you're going to give the client when you're reviewing their stuff, but this stuff is going to happen at scale because every time you assign this phase, all of those videos are going to be there. And then the client's going to see that video and they're going to feel connected to you as their coach. And we don't need to make a specific one, a personalized one for each person. We can do this. In a very generic way that still feels personal, right? So we've got our week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then we have our form that they fill out inside of week 4. So I just want to show you a little bit about like how we would do this. When I add something in, I would have my workout. Why we create those workouts first, right, is now they show up in my little database here. I can grab one and then I can make that repeat up here if I want to, every Tuesday for the next 4 Tuesdays. And we can add that one in. A few cool things. I want to show this thing off a little bit because I think our team did an incredible job with building out this workout builder. This thing is like a work of art here. You're going to see I have my exercises here on the left-hand side. I've got everything that the workout is in here, drag and drop. I can unlink things. Makes it really easy to create supersets and circuits. You're going to see my blocks in here. And let's say that I wanted to save this block, this core block, and I wanted to reuse it in the future, right? I can save this block as a template. We're just going to call it core. And then I'm going to save it. And then you're going to notice that ends up showing up in my core block. And now I can grab that and I can drop that in and it's going to be right there ready to rock and roll. Okay. So it's a super cool way for me to be able to save things and then I can drag and drop them into place. So blocks work great for things like warm-ups, energy system development, corrective exercise sequences, anything where the sequence of exercise is pretty consistent. I can always swap things if I need to just by clicking on an exercise and swapping it, and then I can change any of my sets, reps, or details, tempo, RPE right through here. So it's really cool. And then on the right-hand side, I see how that client is viewing the workout. So it makes it really easy for me to see what is the client going to see? And then when I click on an exercise, if it is assigned to a client, I will see their exercise history for that particular workout. And I'll show you once we get into that. Okay. So I'm actually going to save this one. I just wanted to show you a little bit of this pretty cool stuff in here on how you can build all on one page. It's just going to massively speed up the way that you create workouts. Okay. So we've got this in here. Let's just make sure we save this. And then now let's show how we save it to 1 person, 10 people, or how we customize. So I'm going to go back to my client page here. If I wanted to assign this workout to everybody, I would just select them all. And then I would just assign, I would add a new program. So underneath here, I'd find that one, right? Fat loss phase 1. And then I would pick the start date that I want day 1 to be on. And then I would add it in. Okay. So we're just going to add it into this one client right now. So I'm going to click onto them, and then I'm going to add it in starting, let's start it next week. So I'm going to come in here. I'm not going to add a workout, right? I want to assign a program. So we're going to come in here, find my fat loss phase 1, and then boom, you're going to see everything gets added to this client's account. This is specific to this client right now. So if I wanted to update for this client, what I can do is I can click on a workout. Let's say that they can't, they're a little more advanced, so they're going to do our full deadlift. So I'm going to swap this exercise for a different deadlift variation. So they're going to do a barbell deadlift. Okay, I'm going to keep sets and reps, all that stuff the same. And then I would see their history here on the right-hand side and any comments that they made about that exercise. And if I wanted to give them a little comment about that exercise, I could write it in here and send it over to the client so they'd have it there when they're doing that workout. Maybe I want to switch the order here as well. All right, let's link those two together. And if I need to add anything in, like a warm-up or anything like that, I would be able to do that. Like I could take this block, add it in, right? That was the one we created before, and that's going to be in there ready to rock and roll. Don't want it, just delete it, and we can move it out of there, right? If I want to add a little description, I can do all that. But I've essentially customized for this client, right? Remember, this workout repeated 4 times. We see those 4 up here. Now, when I hit save, you're going to see this thing pop up. Only this event or this event and forward, right? I want to change this event and forward because I don't want to have to go and do every single workout and make all the changes. So I'm going to save this and future events. So I'm going to come in here and hit save. And that's going to change all 4. So if I go to the last workout here, boom, you're going to see that I have barbell deadlift in there. Pretty cool, right? Now I just do that for my workout A, I do it for my workout B, and I do it for my workout C, right? And now I've created a completely customized, personalized workout for that client in a matter of minutes. I just go into each, make those changes, save this event and forward, and boom, I'm done. Now, if I want to move a few things around, maybe I want, this check-in to be here. I can move those if I want, right? If I want that form to be on a different day, I can move that around. So I can make customizations at the client level, which is super, super, super cool. And then when a client completes that workout, I'll be able to click on that workout. It'll be completed, but then you'll be able to see all of their history for that particular exercise. And then underneath each exercise will be what they entered for every set. So that's how we do programming at our facility, and it's how we program for hundreds of clients that get a new program every 4 to 6 weeks. And I don't need masters in program design in order to do that. We've created the recipe at Functional Fitness with our philosophy. I've built out all of the templates. Everything is ready to go. The coach just makes the decision on, is this the right exercise for this client? Okay. Do we need to regress it? Do we need to progress it? Do we need to add in a mobility exercise because they're dealing with X, Y, and Z? Right. But our coaches can pump out a program in 5 minutes because of that. Everything is all ready to rock and roll. Even if you're a solo person, you can still build out these buckets for each client. We've built out 10 phases for ours, and ours last 4 to 6 weeks, right? So that is, do the math. I'm not really good at doing public math, but it's over a year's worth of programming. It's over a year's worth of programming for our clients. And we have different tracks. We have our fat loss track. We have our strength track. We have our athlete track. We have our fundamentals track, which is just teaching all of those. And so you can have a fairly diverse clientele or experience levels and still personalize for everyone without spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours like old Trevor did programming. Yes, each client is a special snowflake, but all snowflakes are made from the same stuff, right? Let's build out all of those fundamentals, all of those templates, so that when you get your special snowflake, you just give them the right design that fits them. And yes, this is going to be a little work on the front end, right? Will be some work, but the work is worth it because you're going to spend some time, some hours building this, but it's going to save you 10x that on the back end, because these are repeatable processes in your business. If you do workouts, you're doing workouts every week, right? Every week with clients. And then the cool thing about the personalization at the client level is you can make changes on the fly. You can review their week one. Hey, I want to progress these things for week two. You just go into week two and you make those quick progressions, save this event and forward. That's going to save all of the rest of their weeks, right? So it makes it really easy to program a lot of people with very little time, as long as you put in the work up front. Or the opposite, you can struggle, spend 30 to 45 minutes with every client, building every workout, starting from scratch, trying to figure it out. Like, those are really your options. And trust me, when you have templates, you can produce a superior product, to be honest, in a fraction of the time. So if you have questions with programming, how it works at scale, all of that, definitely tag me, send a message, comment on the video. We want to help you guys help more people, and getting efficient with your workout programming is one of them. So thanks a lot for hanging out today. Hopefully you learned something. This is Build with the CEO, where we help you turn your coaching into a real business. My name is Trevor. We'll see you later.